Happy New Year, happy 2020. Welcome to Books from the Basement, where I'm gonna tell you about books that I read from my basement. I wanted my first video to be about this Star Wars expanded universe, or the Legends lines of books, the ones that have been decanonized by Disney a couple of years ago, because I feel like there's probably going to be a resurgence in these stories and in these books. I think you've got a portion of fandom who are not happy with the outcome of the new trilogy that was released, and they're going to be looking for some other stories, and it's going to lead into Legends. And this is my first time reading this series, the Han Solo Trilogy by A.C. Crispin. Got finished with it last week, and it's a pretty good starting point for anyone who might be interested in the expanded universe. Beyond the Thrawn trilogy, this is another one that you could potentially start out with. We start out with the Paradise Snare, where we learn about Han, his younger years, and it follows him as an 18-year-old and kind of how he sets out as an adult in the Star Wars universe. We meet some interesting characters that stick around for a large portion of the trilogy. We meet Bria, which is Han's kind of first love interest, and we work our way right into the Hutt Gambit, which probably my personal favorite out of the three. I think this one has the most cohesive, tight story of them all. Probably some of the more exciting action sequences in the novel. And then we move on to Rebel Dawn, where this kind of takes us right up until A New Hope. But A.C. Crispin did a good job just kind of answering some of the questions that you might have about Han Solo if you watch the original trilogy. What's his deal with religion? His deal with just kind of women in general. How he got the Millennium Falcon. How he met Chewie. Why does he have a thing for Wookiees? We find that out pretty quickly. So this is a group of books that I would certainly recommend for anyone to read who's interested in getting into the expanded universe. You'll learn a lot about Han Solo and just his thought behind some of the actions that he takes in some of the movies that we get to see him. And there's also a great companion piece to some of the other Bantam era books available, the Bounty Hunter Wars, which isn't necessarily a highly regarded series, but there's definitely a lot of politics that cross over from the Han Solo trilogy into that trilogy. If I had to give some criticisms to these books, specifically Rebel Dawn, there is about 150 pages in this book where Han Solo does not make an appearance, and we get a lot of Hutt politics in this book. And from what I understand, the reason for that is the Han Solo adventures that were put out in the 70s, some of the first expanded universe books put out, but technically during that time that he isn't in this book, he's off doing the adventures that are written in those books, which a little bit of a letdown, because I enjoyed reading about Han Solo in these books, and for him to be missing for over 100 pages in the book, I was wondering what was kind of going on there, and that maybe is a downfall to some of the Star Wars books that you'll find, is that some of the political exposition that happens in the middle of them can be a little off-putting and generally a slog. But I certainly pick these up if you're interested in learning more about Legends line. You're wondering where to start. The Han Solo trilogy, you're not going to go wrong with these books, or with the Thrawn trilogy. Just leave a note if you've ever read these or what you think about them, and I will be back again with another review of another book. All right. See you then.